let's quickly take a look as to what more are we learning as breaking news comes in from the United States. And this is with Donald Trump reiterating his claim over Greenland. Trump has come out to say, I think something will work out. Denmark can't be relied upon over Greenland. Greenland is crucial for national security. So you remember, US, Denmark, Greenland, foreign ministers all hold a meet. That is what we are given to understand of the situation. Donald Trump has clearly said that Denmark cannot be relied upon to protect the island, even as he said that something will work out with respect to the future governance of the Danish overseas territory. So this comes in after a high-stakes meeting between the US, Danish and the Greenlandic officials and the foreign ministers of each of these countries, indicating that fundamental differences still remain between how Washington, Copenhagen and Nuuk see the political future of the very island. Shivani continues to be with us. But before that, quickly, let's listen into what Donald Trump had to say on the very matter.
The premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the final word? That? The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
With that, viewers, we continue to have Shivani with us. Shivani, this is another particular geopolitical issue that we see blowing over at this given point of time, blowing up rather at this given point of time. But if you could just bring us some more details of that high-stakes meeting that's taken place between the foreign ministers of all three places, including the fact that they might not have reached a consensus and fundamental differences still continue to, in fact, exist amongst the three nations.
See, looking at the whole situation and the challenges, Greenland is also getting threats, sort of for what happened in Venezuela. That's what Donald Trump has been saying. And he says that the problem is there, that there's nothing, there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. So what he has been saying after a remark that had come in from Greenland, where it said that we choose to be with Denmark rather than being with the United States, and we keep our freedom plans for a later period of time. So he's saying that he cannot rely on any other country because the national security of the United States is important. The foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland had met with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance at the White House. But following this meeting, the Danish foreign minister and the other ministers, they all did not reach the consensus, it seems, because after that also we've been seeing a lot of statements that are coming in from the United States President Donald Trump. He says that this is a serious problem and I think something will work out. So what that thing will be, will it through negotiations or some action that he's been threatening of, like what he did in Venezuela? So we have to wait and watch. A lot is evolving on that front too also, Shreya.
Right, Shivani, thank you for putting it into context for us about what exactly has gone down in the meeting and which side has to say what on the entire situation now, which honestly at this point of time seems quite like a deadlock. With that, viewers, let's quickly take you through all the updates on this very story itself. US President Donald Trump has intensified his focus on Greenland. He has in fact now described the whole situation, the strategically located island, as in fact vital for America's national security. In his remarks highlighting his aggressive stance on global defense, Trump has urged that the NATO is to support the US efforts to secure Greenland, warning that without American intervention, the island could fall under Russian or even Chinese influence. He has also criticized NATO as ineffective without the US leadership, asserting that the alliance can only be strong if the US asserts control over the very territory. Now, Greenland, on the other hand, has responded, saying that it has increased its military readiness, with Danish forces conducting ongoing Arctic training exercises to strengthen the transatlantic security and even maintain the regional stability in the very area.
Arctic anchors, early warning systems, sea lanes, maritime, important maritime corridors, but also access to critical minerals. You have to look at it in a more holistic way. And I argue that the US is already operating actually in this space, but it's not going to be able to exercise power projection in the Arctic on its own when it comes to strategic denial against the dragon bear. So in that sense, the current strategy of the Trump administration towards Greenland is counterproductive. And I would argue that an update of the defense deal between Denmark and US in, let's say, kind of in accordance of also AUKUS-like defense pact between the United States, UK, Canada, and the other Arctic nations will be much broader approach to the Arctic as a whole, rather than the, the individual approach that the US is pursuing right now against Greenland and basically against another NATO member, which is Denmark.
So when we speak of Greenland and its future, there remains a big question mark with regards to whether the US will indeed be capturing it, whether it will take it within its own ambit, as it has cited that it's important for the United States national security or not. Well, that remains to be a question, or whether Greenland shall be in fact coming under the ambit of Denmark. Because remember, there are European countries as well that have also come in to pitch that they will be contributing to the military presence in the country and make sure that it is not indeed coming under any particular influence, be it under Russia, be it under China, or for that matter, even the United States. But again, of course, Trump and his claims of national security threat to the United States continues to come in. There are still meetings going on, and high-end meetings going on between officials from Greenland, from Denmark, and the United States at the same time to, in fact, reach a conclusion which indeed is acceptable by all three. But right now, given the situation that we see that they have arrived at, it seems to be a bit of a deadlock, because the threats still continue from the United States. It still looms large over Greenland at this given point of time. So what exactly will Greenland's future hold? That still remains to be a big question.